Do you want that one or the square jar?
Yes.
Alright, now this, my friends, is Talisker Storm. It's our selected whiskey for the evening.
Thus begins the first inaugural episode of Whiskey Tales.
Which we will regale you with various anecdotes concerning various topics.
Every episode must start with a sacred sound. Wonderful.
That was it. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, that's pleasing.
Fuck yeah.
Smoky.
Orangey.
This is my new pride and joy.
Have we named it?
Mavis, after my other grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Also, it sounds a bit like Travis, so...
That's your drag name as well?
yeah, that's my Friday night name. So, yeah, the story with this one is... how old would I have been? It was 1999, so 24. And my dad, who was still alive at the time, obviously, because I'm bringing him up in the story, I was living in a share house and I just hear this knock on the door. Who knocks on the door? Who just shows up? Open the door and it's my father. And he was like wide-eyed and childlike, and he had a Maton catalogue. And he's like, oh, look, Maton are reissuing their Master Sound series. And it had all of these things in it. Like Josh, is it Josh Homme?
Yeah, Josh Homme, yep.
He plays one of these, Queens of the Stone Age, but he plays I can't remember the model number.
Probably the Homme series.
Yeah, but they're like they're semi-acoustic version of this,
yeah.
and they're amazing. But this is the 50th anniversary reissue, 1958. Even George Harrison played one of these back in the day. And anyway, it came up for sale, and I just had to have it. So,
good investment.
Yeah, it is a good investment because it plays really well, and it's a lot like a Gibson.
It sounds divine.
It's extremely playable. It's got a really cool headstock. I
And
like it.
And it's a Maton.
It's a Maton.
Iconic Aussie guitar.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, so this is my favourite guitar at the moment in terms of, like, if I really need a single coil kind of sound, I'll play my Squire. But
you could always coil tap that.
Yeah, but every time I'm like, oh, I guess I'm playing the Maton. I'm always kind of slightly happy because it's like, I get to pick this thing up.
And I do like that it's got the Tune-o-matic bridge as well.
Yeah, the Gibson-y touch. And I just got this new strap, which I absolutely love, and strap locks.
Oh, I should get my strap.
I
Here, hold this. I'll be back.
Then now I'm holding a Telecaster.
I thought that was mine for a minute.
It's very nice.
Yes, it is.
I will actually have to get a Telecaster at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, these strap locks,
It's a different style.
I like it because they're just low profile.
Yeah.
I've got black ones for this one and silver ones for the Squire. And they're just really solid. And the strap, check it out. Just really suits the guitar.
That is a nice strap.
I shopped around for ages.
I'm a bit more homemade and custom, and well, literally homemade with this strap, which I made with the help of my father.
Oh wow!
So my father, who is quite an astounding leather artist, it's not really his thing to be making stuff like this, but it's a bit too plain and not out there enough. There's no brains or hearts involved, so and it's not a top hat. So,
Yeah.
so I designed it and cut it and such, But he did all of the stitching. Because he's got a rather big fancy sewing machine that I didn't feel confident to use at all.
It's industrial. It's like a World War II relic.
It is. And it will go through like leather that thick. I made this for the bass guitar that I built.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's why it's all black and white, to match the black and white of the Rickenbacker copy bass.
Because when Martin originally joined what has become Colluder, the guy that was playing drums with me at the time lives just up the road now, which is kind of cool. And his name's Guru. Hey, Guru.
Hey, Guru.
Which I'm sure you're watching right now. And anyway, so we joined. He joined in because I'm like, oh, we need a bass player. We need a bass player. So I was like, well, I'll ask Martin.
I'm like, hey, I've got a bass I haven't built yet.
Yeah. And it was those jams that created the 60% of the material that's on Disparity, you reckon?
Yeah, I'd say 60 to 70% of that came from those initial jams with
It's like 3 jams.
Guru, and they were great.
Things like Catch Me.
Yeah.
Why Wait? Why Wait? And you can hear, there's the original recordings, and you can hear these songs being born from just like, oh, I don't know, maybe do something.
Yeah, play this. I got an idea.
Yeah. Divided.
Yeah.
And it was really fun to pull those jams apart and go, oh, there's an idea, and then workshop it and make it into a song.
And there's probably another 5 in there that we'll end up developing at a later point, I reckon.
Or leaving behind completely.
Oh, possibly.
How did it happen that you got on guitar?
I fell ill for a while, and it coincided with Guru. I believe his was like a tendonitis thing that made it just too hard to play drums, and I think they sort of reached that critical point where I was well enough to play, and Guru just wasn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so he kind of dropped off, and I'm like, well, I did play drums in our 2 previous incarnations. Maybe I'll just do it temporarily, and I'll continue doing bass. Don't worry, I'm still the bassist. But Trav was very much like, oh, you need to be singing too, man. You need to be singing. Step up to the microphone.
Well, it was just a matter of, for me anyway, I remember I was just in the kitchen. It was like lockdown had happened, and we were all like, ugh. I was like, let's just record an album.
Yeah.
And I just rang him up and we're like, let's just do it. And he's like, well, okay, how are we going to do this? And we just worked it out, and we just recorded it remotely. We did all our workshopping on Google Docs for the lyrics.
But it is interesting that it did unfold remotely like that.
Yeah, and I do think it shows, but that's hardly the point. The fact is, we recorded a 14-track album, and we did it with Martin in Brisbane and me on the Sunshine Coast, like 100 kilometers apart.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually see each other face to face at all, did we? Because we had lockdown going on.
Yeah, that's right. I think I came up after lockdown the first lockdown had eased, but I was still really sick at that point. We were jamming downstairs, and I was on the drums.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd been kind of resisting doing the bass line for Prey, but I really wanted you to do it because I wasn't happy with what I'd done. And you went, oh, okay, and then you just came out with this thing, and I went, oh, what is that? And at that moment, I knew, I was sure, this is the right thing. We're doing it. We're actually doing it, and we're going to get it done.
And we did.
Yeah.
We did, absolutely did. And I think it wasn't long into the process that we started talking about, well, how are we going to do this thing live?
Yeah.
And it was like, you know what? You and me up front, 2 guitars, 2 microphones, and we'll get drums and bass.
Yeah.
And it just made sense.
Yeah.
Because like Disparity, Martin did all the drums. 90% of the bass. I think I did 2 songs.
Yeah, you did 2. You did Prey and
Another one.
An Obsession.
Oh, I was struggling with Obsession. I had a few ideas, and then one day I was like, listen to the drums, Trav, what are you doing? And it's like, I was like, well, there you go, just do that.
and Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Behrens, or Jimmy, as he's known from Uncle Unit, was a guest bass player for I'm Stepping Out, which I just love what he did on that. And he also put down a rough guide track for the rhythm at the for the intro. And when we're deconstructing it, and because Trav played the rhythm on that, he's going, "What did he do? What did he do?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. Ask him." And Trav's like, "It sounds great. Let's just leave it like that." So we did.
So that's actually not me playing at all. That's it. That's Chris. But who cares? He's credited.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that is a song that is a very old one that he and I originally wrote together, and
so it made sense for him to
Yeah.
get his teeth into it. And the only other person other than us is
Brent.
Brent from the Soul Men.
Yeah.
He came over here and did a couple of takes on the harmonica in a very hot and sweltering soundproof room. And
Obviously for Catch Me.
yeah, and just absolutely nailed it.
Let me show you my customizations. Very, very minimal. We've got just the tone and the volume are set to these very old school vintage kind of pot knobs,
So cool.
and a pickup selector switch that has been ripped off an 80s stereo, which is just like, it's hanging on there, but
It's so cool.
it needs to go down a little bit more.
It's better than a plastic piece of shit hanging on.
Oh yeah, totally. But also these pot knobs match the knobs on my amplifier as well.
Yeah, right. They do.
So, yeah, quite like that.
I kind of covet them actually. And this, I love the Maton pickup
yeah.
selector. It's just, I love contraptions, and that's just like so unusual. But Mason have had these since the 50s.
Yeah, a rotary pickup selector switch.
That. Well, I kind of want to talk about the next album without giving too much away.
Right. Well, I think we should start the story with an integral part of the story, which is Sabo.
Yeah, Savvy.
Which I wish he could be here for this, but he's not. But he's an amazing bassist that we managed to snare. I don't know how he wasn't snapped up before we found him, but he's an incredible bass guitarist with really great imagination, and
Which is really important for us.
It is.
Shredding and technical ability is great, but if you can play the right thing and play something that surprises us,
Yeah, exactly.
as the people that writing most of the songs, it's like when a bass player does something that you don't expect.
Well, he takes it in a new direction that is absolutely complementary to the existing direction, but whilst heading to the same destination, he takes a side street that is just unexpected all the time, and it's just wonderful. He's a pleasure to work with. But anyway,
Don't get a big head, Savvy.
yeah, shut up, man. Jesus Christ. He's injected 2 mainstays already. He's basically handed both of them to us on a silver platter and said, "See what you can do." So we did.
Whiskey Tales, brought to you by Whiskey. We've got a couple of mottos, and one of them is, if it works, it works.
I think the most important motto is, you try it.
Yeah. There's no such thing as, nah, we won't play that. We won't, no. That idea is shit. You must play it this way.
Yeah.
That's not the bass line you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I won't play Foxy Lady.
It's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, we'll
Even
give
if
it a
it feels
shot.
terrible, how many times have I suggested something, and I know for me, he's suggested shit a multitude of times, and I've been like, inside going, no. And then we try it, and I like it. Because the whole point of Colluder is we're colluding. It's working together.
And really proactively being equal input.
Like, the songs we have now, we could record this album now, and we'd be happy with it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what songs we could possibly write that are going to, you know, depose the songs from their thrones.
Yeah.
The disparity in and of itself is a disparate album, which is almost the primordial ooze from which...
It's zero.
Yeah.
It's chaos and entropy from which order will emerge.
Right, and another word for order is...
Cohesion.
Which is the working title for the next album. But calling the album Cohesion means, you know, we've been disparate, and now we're going to be cohesive. And do you want to explain what that means?
Well, I think it's fairly self-explanatory, but I mean, in terms of the genre of disparity, there is no genre. There's no consistency with the genre whatsoever.
It's a disparate collection of songs played in a disparate manner. He was in Brisbane, I was in the Sunshine Coast. We weren't even in the same room.
We're sticking to our instruments. We're sticking to a particular sound. Our genre will be a lot more consistent, and
that's really cool.
And it will have a common thread like Disparity never had. So
yeah, it's basically what can four people do in a room with our instruments. And you know, the temptation for me is really strong to bring out MIDI and like sampling, and we've talked about this at great length, and that's where we want to head. But for Cohesion, we're just going to go, you know what, let's just...
Instantly accessible, automatically something that is performable. We have to be able to do it live exactly as we do it on the album. Not exactly, but like, you know, no instruments that we're leaving out.
No overdubs.
And it will have wow and flutter. It will have variation in tempo and dynamics and...
Yeah.
But what it won't have is this compilation feel about it.
Yeah. It's by design we're doing it almost completely opposite. So you've got this kind of bunch of ideas in Disparity, but this is when things come together and things are cohesive, and we're doing it in such a way that we can record it live, because it's this moment where everything, there's no guesswork with this. There's no grey area. It's just like we all know what we're doing, and we should be able to just record it.
Yeah. We just need a drummer now. Do you know any drummers?
If you do, tell them to hit us up.
Yeah. We need a drummer that is going to be like, guys, check this shit out. We will leave you with this brand new, never heard before, even by me, set of chords by Travis J. Earsman.
Wait for it. And...
Whoa.
It actually worked.
Yeah. Now give us an F sharp major.
Let's tune my guitar next time.
There we go. And minor.
And the big finishing chord.
Oh.
Please hang up and try again.